Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by Fantasy Football Scout Deputy Editor Tom Freeman, who will be revealing his Game Week 20 team. We'll also look back at his Game Week 19, the fixtures coming up, and Tom could be in the market for a new midfielder. So I've got some enabler suggestions there, but I think he might be looking a bit more expensive. But nevertheless, if you are looking for an enabler, we have a section on that too. Welcome, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Joe. Yeah, it's been a busy week. I've been on match duties on Sunday and Monday for Scout, so taking in a lot of games. But yeah, it's been okay. So how are you? You okay?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's been a good Christmas. Been nice to have a little break, and I've had a reasonable Christmas as well. But yeah, you've had a very good Christmas in FPL, which has
It's
been
been
good.
going well.
So
Yeah.
I've had a couple of good game weeks, and yeah, onwards and upwards, hopefully. So I've got a little red
Absolutely.
arrow at the moment, but you've got a green arrow. You're up to 224. What we'll do is we'll have a look at your Game Week 19 team so far. You've got had a very good game week so far. But just a reminder, do press that like button. Really helps us out. And do remember to subscribe. Keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts wherever you receive them. Okay, Tom, let's have a look at your Game Week 19 so far. So you're on 90 points, which is huge. This must be one of your best game weeks of the season. Yeah, do you want
Yeah.
to just take us through your stars and say any ones who aren't stars, but not that many of them?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's the second best game week of the season so far, but we've obviously still got the one game to come. Think in an ideal world, Brentford score in that match and somebody like Mbomo isn't involved. But yeah, it's looking good so far. We've got 90 points. I did Greaves to Munoz with my transfer, which hasn't paid off yet, but I'm confident that move will pay off in the future. So we've got Sells in goal with 6 points. Then Alexander Arnold got that big haul at the back with 15, and Munoz as well just got the 2. Salah 32 points as captain. Jota came off the bench. We'll talk about him in a bit. It's not been a great transfer in, but got the goal at the weekend. He got 6. Palmer blank last night for 2, and then Rodgers has obviously got that big haul as well with 11, but he's going to sit out game week 20 now. And then I've had Isak and João Pedro play up front so far with 7 and 9 respectively. So it's been a good week. I think Munoz and Palmer are the only players not to return.
Right, yeah, pretty good week so far. Yeah, I mean, you've got Hall on the bench with 12 points, but it's one of those weeks where you don't care because you've had a good game week.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I probably shouldn't have done Greaves and Munoz. I should have just played Hall because he was in the bus team prior to making a transfer. But I thought United would score
Yeah, I did do.
last night. I didn't think they would be quite as flat as they were. And it's good, Hall's price. I think I got him at 4.4. I think he's already up to 4.7, and it's going to keep on going
Yeah.
up. So that's fine. And then I've got another decision on whether to play him this week because he's obviously at Tottenham, which again you would expect probably Tottenham to score, but he's got a lot of attacking potential at the moment. Hall, he got the assist
Yeah.
last night, of course, so that isn't straightforward. But yeah, it's been good so far, and let's see what happens tomorrow with Brentford against Arsenal.
Yes, certainly. We're quite similar in the rankings now. I'm on 210
Yeah, it's
points.
close.
You're on 214.
Who have you got to come tomorrow though? You've got Mbomo, haven't you?
I've got Brian and Bomo and Gabriel.
Yeah.
So I hope Brian and Bomo scores, and so does Gabriel.
So I've got Gabriel as well,
Yeah.
but I've got Jesus. So it's basically Mbomo against Jesus, and I think I'd rather have Mbomo for that one. So let's see how it looks.
Yeah, I think the thing with Brian and Bomo, why I've kept him this long, really, and others have ditched him, is because he hasn't actually done anything wrong. And when I've watched all the
No,
matches since, even in the last match where he blanked, he looked great. He just looks really good.
Yeah, he's just that 90-minute man.
Yeah.
Penalties, set pieces, just an easy set and forget, isn't he? Really.
Yeah.
And Gabby Jesus, that was a bit of a riskier move. With I bought him and Jota in on Boxing Day, and both were risky moves. And I hope Jesus starts tomorrow. I am a little bit concerned that they maybe push Havertz up to the centre forward position. But then Neil kind of suggested that maybe Jesus could be moved to the wing.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. I hope he starts, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he will certainly, even if he doesn't, he will certainly I would imagine, get
at some
significant
point.
minutes now with Saka out.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Okay, what we do is we'll have a look at the fixtures because They're starting to change a little bit. Also, we've got a potential double game week coming up. And so this shows that Fulham, Southampton, Crystal Palace, Everton are at the top from game weeks 20 through to game week 26. And handily, they're quite cheap. Southampton's form is improving. Fulham and Crystal Palace have been pretty good, and they've got lots of good options there. And Arsenal have still got quite strong fixtures. They do have Tottenham and Man City in there, but still pretty good. Aston Villa as well. They've got a good run of fixtures, actually.
Yeah.
Leicester, Everton. They do have Arsenal, and they do have Chelsea, but they do also got West Ham, Wolves and Ipswich in this run. Brighton's a bit mixed, but as I've said on any video I do, Brighton's fixtures, flip them on the head. The hardest fixtures, that's when you want to target your likes of Pedro. So you probably weren't expecting many points from Pedro against your side, Villa, and hey presto, 9 points. Similarly, away to Bournemouth, you don't expect points from him. Hey presto, points. So
it does seem to be a theme, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I did think he could get. I mean, we haven't been defending great, but it does go along with that theory that maybe the tougher matches suit him that little bit better. And I'm going to play him against Arsenal, I think, this weekend.
Yep, certainly. Arsenal at home. He does have Ipswich away. That's a tough one for him. Manchester United away. If Manchester United's form improved, that's good news for Pedro. Everton at home. Tough defence. Guess what? Pedro will score. Nottingham Forest, that's tough. Chelsea, tough. Southampton away, that's probably the toughest.
That's the blank. Yeah.
That's the blank for him. Okay, Newcastle as well. They've got mixed, but largely good. They've got Tottenham. I would say not even mixed, really, because Tottenham is really good for their attackers. Wolves, Bournemouth at home next, and Southampton away, Fulham at home, Nottingham Forest at home, and Man City away. It's actually a really good run for the likes of Isak, which is why I'm finally going to get him in this week. And then further down, you've got Wolves, Man City, West Ham, Ipswich, Bournemouth to a lesser extent, and Leicester have got, I would say, either bad or middling fixtures. It's Wolves right at the bottom, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Bournemouth. They're all tough. They've got all tough games, so which is why I'm removing Cunha. I thought we might have a longer ban than he's going to get, but I'll remove him anyway because I think Isak's better over this one. But that's
absolutely.
me, and it's not about me; it's about you. So, what do you take from this? Which are the teams that you're interested in for your next moves?
Well, I really like those Fulham fixtures. They're at the top. The next three specifically, maybe even the next four, given how United performed last night. The problem is where do you go? Because I owned Raul Jimenez, and I sold him a couple of weeks back, and he's quite a hard own at the moment because you don't know what. I think he started 4 of the last 5, but Muniz is putting pressure on him now. Even when he starts, he's coming off at about 70, 75 minutes most weeks. So I think that for me, that rules out Raul and Muniz as options. So it's probably, if you want an attacker, it's probably only Iwobi, I would say. And I don't think he's quite at that level of Rodgers and players like that at the moment. So I'm kind of thinking maybe a Fulham defender, Robinson or Castagne or Anderson, but I think they're quite hard to invest in from the attacking perspective. Palace you can see on there. That's why I bought in Munoz. I'm considering Eze this week. I don't think I'll go there, but he's probably number 2 on the list. And Gordon, my top target, you just touched on it then, Joe. The fixtures from an attacker, for the attackers are great, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, they go to Spurs, who have got an injury crisis at the back at the moment. The doggy's now out as well. And then Wolves, Bournemouth, Southampton and Fulham, with 3 of those 4 games at St James's Park. I think I want more than Isak for that. I don't just want to be relying on him. Those are kind of the teams that I'm kind of eyeing up at the moment.
How much money have you got in the bank?
I have got 2.3 million.
Okay, so you can go up there. So you're just before we look at some potential midfield enablers, because some people might be tempted to ditch Rodgers. I personally am not going to. I'm going to just park him for a match because he's brilliant. I'm presuming that might be the same for you, especially being a Villa fan.
Yeah, I've had him all season. I find it really hard to sell somebody like Rodgers because I watch him every week and I know how good he is. And if you got him for like 5 million, there's just absolutely nobody else which can compete with him at that price, in my opinion. Not even Enzo and players like that went. And I think he's nailed in that team now.
Yeah.
He just doesn't get rested.
No.
And yeah, I think if it won't be the same for everybody, but if you can bench him this week, knowing that after that you've got, that nice run of West Ham, Wolves, and Ipswich to come in 23 to 25, I would do that if you can bench him.
Yeah, definitely. I've just put some midfielders up here. So this is, I've just purely just done it on form. On fixtures rather. On Fulham, Crystal Palace, Southampton are the top. So that's irrespective of form at the moment. But if you just want to get a midfielder in, an enabler. So say you maybe haven't got Rodgers, you're not going to get him in. You just want to get another midfielder in. So these sort of range. Well, Eze's the most expensive here, but they're broadly around the 5 million, 5.5 million mark. So I just thought there's just some options here for people to consider. There may be some differentials in there as well. So Harry Wilson, he's only 5.2, and he's in point. He's not even in 1% of teams. Yeah. His minutes per expected goal involvement is the most out of any midfielders from these teams with the top fixtures. He's got 2 goals already, just 4 starts, but he's starting to get starts now because when he comes on as a sub, a bit like Duran, he gets the goals. So like with Duran at Aston Villa, before he was suspended, it was just, let's just play him, let's start him. So yeah, I mean, would you be tempted by Wilson? I imagine he might be in your, not this week's differentials maybe, but soon he might be.
Yeah, I think the concern is always minutes with Wilson, but when he plays, he makes an impact, doesn't he? And that's why he's starting to get more. I think he's started 3 of the last 4 now. So he's starting to get a bit more consistent. He's got competition from Adama Traore on the right, another inconsistent player. But yeah, I think this goes back to what I was saying before. Fulham would be a great attack to invest in now. And maybe at 5.2, Wilson, you could take a punt on him, but I don't think he will start every game. So I think you've got to be prepared for that. Yeah. And I do think there are probably better options around. But if you want to play the fixtures, then go for it.
Crystal Palace are a team that you've invested in with Munoz, and I have as well. I've got Henderson now, and I've also got this guy, Sarr. And Sarr looked good in the last game. Did blank, but looked good. Got Chelsea up next. Ipswich did a number on them. He's only 5.9. He has gone up a bit, but he's 5.4% of teams. So real differential. Minutes for expected goal involvement every 188 minutes. So pretty much a goal involvement every other game, which with 5.9 is absolutely fine. His baseline bonus is strong. 12 shots inside the box, 8 shots on target, created 8 chances. And this is for the last 6 game weeks, by the way. Are you tempted to get him in as well?
Yeah, I think it was a really big decision last week for a lot of managers, wasn't it? Sarr or Eze, and they both got a lot going for them. I think that Sarr looked a bit more threatening at the weekend, but Eze got the goal and came out with the points in that one. But it wouldn't surprise me if that was reversed in the next fixture or the one after that. I think Sarr's a decent option. I mean, Eze is probably. I think Sarr is nailed on in that team at the moment, but Eze is even more secure, isn't he? He's their star man. He's got penalties. He's got penalties sometimes. I think with Mateta, he's got set pieces. Yeah. But the dynamic in that team, it does seem that Eze maybe drops a little bit, and Sarr is that line breaker who's getting beyond the opposition centre back. So I think there's a lot of appeal in it. Glasner came out after Eze scored at the weekend and said he thinks Eze is going to go on a run now. He thinks now he's got that goal, which is his first since game week 3. He thinks confidence-wise it's going to give him a boost. So he's obviously got real backing from the manager there. But I think they'll both be good.
Yeah, that's good for the whole team. That's what you want to hear. I want to hear that as a Sarr owner as well.
One of the key creators, Eze. So it makes sense.
Yeah, Eze's created 9 chances in the last 6. So he's actually only started 5 of them. 8 shots inside the box. And his ownership is he's in 7.5% of teams. Minutes per expected goal involvement, not as strong as Sarr over that period. So that's what you want to hear. You want to hear them, all their players back and doing well. Next name I'll put in Dibbling. Some people are going for sort of a dead space in their team, but Dibbling actually does play. Not every match, but he does play. and he's
Yeah.
4.5, and he's got goal threat. He's had 3 shots inside the box, a couple on target, created a couple of chances. I think it's quite a handy first sub if you want to go down to that level as
Yeah.
well. I know FPL General's had quite a lot of success this season with Chiwomi from Wolves in his side, because it means that he plays other players, and Chiwomi's just there as a dead. He gets no bench points,
Yeah.
but he's always got a good 11.
Yeah.
Dibbling could be that. It could be quite a handy first sub, really.
Yeah, if you want to go for a 4.5, that's where I would go. They've got the new manager, and I owned Dibbling earlier on in the season
Yeah.
and played him a few times. I really like him as a player. He reminds me a bit of
Yeah.
Grealish when he was at Villa,
Yeah.
with the way he kind of carries the ball, and I like him. So I think if you need like a really cheap enabler who is just going to sit as your first sub each week and not eat into the budget of your first 11, and that's where I would go personally.
And Iwobi's the final name here. Not as fashionable as he was a couple of weeks ago in terms of transfers in. He's 5.9. He's in 7% of the team, 7.7% of the team, so still differential. Created 10 chances, 7 shots inside the box. Still pretty strong, and he looks pretty nailed on still. And he still looks good, passes the eye test as well. People have just gone off him, but I still think he is an option, especially with Fulham being top of the fixture ticker up until Gameweek 26.
Yeah, nobody's really looking at him now. They were a couple of weeks ago, weren't they? But because he's blanked a couple of times, nobody's paying him much attention. But what you do get with him is you get that minutes, that nailed on factor, which you don't get with any of the other Fulham attackers. No. And that can count for a lot if you're getting 90 minutes out of him each week. So, yeah, I could see why somebody would take the punt. He's surely going to return in one of those next 3 fixtures.
Yeah, I would think so.
I think I would put others ahead of him. I think, but I don't think it's a bad move if you really like that Fulham run. No.
Okay, some interesting enablers for people to consider there in midfield. Let's have a look at your team for next week. Do you want to run through your team?
Yeah.
Who you're going to captain, and also who you're going to bench, and if you do go for someone like Gordon, who makes way?
Yeah, so the team, the bus team, I've got Sells in goal away at Wolves. Got 3 at the back, Alexander-Arnold at home against Man United, Gabriel away at Brighton, and Collins away at Southampton. Might switch that position, but that's where I'm at for now. In midfield, I've got Salah, captain, loves playing Man United at home. I've also got Jota at home against Man United. I don't think he's going to start that one, so I'll talk about that in a second. Palmer away at Palace and Semenyo at home to Everton. And then I've got 3 strikers, João Pedro at home to Arsenal, Gabby Jesus at home to Brighton, and Isak away at Tottenham. And then on the bench, I've got an injured Fabianski, Hall away at Tottenham, Munoz at home to Chelsea, and Rodgers, who's got this 1-match ban.
Yeah.
So my original plan had been obviously to play Rodgers and to put Jota as my first sub, and then hold him back and kind of use him over the next few weeks when I think he's going to start. If we get a hint anywhere, to bring him into that first 11, but because when he starts, he's going to be absolute fire, isn't he? Because he just, he doesn't need long to make an impact. But that Rodgers ban has created a problem now because it forces him into my first 11 this week. And I don't really want that. I mean, he could get 20 minutes against Man United, but it's not ideal. So my current thinking is to kind of take that goal, those 6 points with Jota. I only bought him in recently, but take them and just exit now and switch him to Anthony Gordon.
Okay.
And then keep the rest of the team as it is. I could play Hall away at Tottenham or Munoz at home to Chelsea over Collins. But I'm kind of back in the clean sheet odds at the moment and going for Collins, but that could switch. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning towards now. I will have another look at the midfielders between now and Saturday's deadline, but I do think that Gordon, it's probably the move I should have made originally, but I wanted to take that short-term punt on Jota.
Yeah, but as you said, you got 6 points from him last time out, so it's not the end of the world. And
No.
I think Jota to Gordon is a more reliable pick for minutes. And those are fixtures for attackers: Tottenham, Wolves, Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham, Manchester City, and then Nottingham Forest, probably the toughest in Gameweek 26 in terms of defence. Look pretty strong. In terms of the bench, I personally, if I had this team, I would play Munoz above Collins because I think with
Yeah,
Munoz you're looking at attacking threat as well. So, for example, in my side, I'm playing Robinson against Ipswich, which I think is clean sheet potential, clean sheet
yeah, I
potential there,
think
obviously.
so.
But it's more the fact of he's what's he got 7 assists now, the most of any defender.
Yes, yeah, correct. Yeah.
So that's why I'm playing him. Munoz has that expectation of attacking returns as well.
Yeah, no, yeah, I do get that. I mean, I think Brentford aren't great away either.
No.
Southampton got the new manager in. It's been a bit of a slow start, but yeah, they're probably going to score against Brentford, aren't
I
they?
think,
So then you pick the defender if they're all going to
yeah.
concede with the best attacking threat.
Yeah, I mean, there's
So
so many. I mean, I think loads of teams are going to be in a similar position. I'm in a similar position. My first sub is Houston, at home to Everton, and I really don't want a guy who can score goals and probably get a locked in clean sheet on my bench. But that's
yeah,
just the way it is when you've got the likes of
who are you playing ahead of him then,
Alexander
Jota?
Arnold, Gabriel, and Robinson.
Oh yeah,
You can't,
yes.
you can't, you
It's
can't
got-
compete with them. And
Yeah, I've got a feeling you might. I think thinking about your team, I think it probably looks a little bit better set up than mine this week. I'm not
well,
particularly keen on a lot of my fixtures,
well,
but let's
my
see.
red arrow and your green arrow say otherwise. But yeah,
Well, yeah,
but
well,
I think that's the problem. But I think your team, my team, lots of people watching and listening will be having a similar dilemma because we've all sort of prepared a bit for Christmas. We've all got and all these defenders, Munoz, Hall. I mean, you're even considering Collins in the mix here. We've all got really good defenders. We're gonna have to
yeah.
we're just gonna have to suck it up. We're gonna get bench points.
Yeah, and I don't. If you're making money, I never mind it. It's like Hall's on my bench now, but he's probably going to go up a bit of money,
Yeah,
and I've got him in place for a
yeah,
good run. He's nailed good performances, nail his place down in that
yeah,
team, and reduce the risk of Burn shifting to left back once Botman's back. So, yeah, yeah, that hasn't really bothered me. I've got Semenyo on the bench this week as well.
yeah,
Who got the official Opta assist. It wasn't a
yeah,
fancy
yeah,
assist.
yeah.
There's been a lot of complaints about that, but it was Opta who decided that. Yeah, I mean, it's not a home against Everton. It might be tough for Bournemouth, but I think you've got to play Semenyo this
Yeah.
week if you own him. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's probably one of those weeks where I'd be happy just can just kind of sit around the
Yeah,
same rank and not fluctuate too much
yeah,
and just keep it and then hope for the next week after that when a lot more of my players have got better fixtures
yeah,
then to try and kick on a bit more and try and get into that top 100k.
definitely. Well, good luck with whatever you decide. Good luck those listening and watching. I hope you have a good New Year and I hope
Yeah.
you've had a good Christmas, everyone. Until we meet again ahead of Gameweek 21. Take care, Tom. See you soon.
Great. Thanks, Joe.